This is a download from BFM 89.9, the business station.
This is Frida Liu. You're listening to Raise Your Game. We have Hetal Doshi from OSI joining us again, and this is the Butterfly Effect series and about transforming the way we transform organizations. Hetal, very interesting topic this time, fear of success. Okay, so just the topic itself really got me excited. But okay, what are the research that we've undertaken, and what have we realized from this? Because it's quite ironic, right? The fear of success.
Yes, absolutely. So coming to the, butterfly effect, which is the theme of the series, you can see that the caterpillar moves into the stage where it gets into a cocoon, from the cocoon to a butterfly. And more and more as researchers in our company, we've been looking at that picture, and we've started looking at the details of it. You'd see that the caterpillar, it takes about 2 weeks before it gets into cocoon stage. In the cocoon stage, almost about 2 years. And then as a butterfly, probably just about 2 or 3 days. What are we doing so long in the cocoon? Even as human beings, why are we getting stuck for so long in challenges? So what we did was we decided to do a study, about 500 people across 4 different organizations. And we asked them what was the type of stress that they've been going through or challenges that they've been going through. And we've been following these people before MCO, during MCO, and definitely after COVID. We'll just continue to follow them as well. This is a longitudinal kind of a study. So in this research, what we realized is that the challenges that people have before MCO and during MCO has not differed significantly. So here are some of the challenges, Frida. At work, our typical challenges at work is high workload, not enough time, fear of uncertainty, and some difficult relationships at work, leading to politics or feelings of politics and favoritism, or just not being able to connect with people. Then we asked them, what are your typical challenges at home? And again, it was the same thing. High workload, not enough time, uncertainty about the future, and challenging relationships at home. So it seemed like as though it was very similar types of challenges that people were experiencing, maybe different phases in our lives, it gets amplified. So what we realized is these challenges, even before MCO or during MCO, didn't really change. The only thing that it did was expose the vulnerabilities of it a little bit more. And what we realized from this is that the 2 main reasons why people experience these challenges is, or consider it as stress, is because I want something, but I don't get it. So that becomes stressful. The second thing is I want some kind of love or connection, but I'm not getting it. So lack of goals or lack of love definitely contributes to it. But why? What is underlying all of these challenges? So we did a series of workshops with these 500 packs, and we asked them, what is at the basis of this? Like, why are you actually really, really experiencing this fear? Where does it come from? We did then a poll, and we realized that there were 4 reasons why. Number 1, there is this fear of general uncertainty about the future. The other one is a very typical fear that majority of people are quite familiar saying, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of failure, and the fear of being rejected. So most of us, when we did this research, we realized that forget about talking about stress, forget about talking about challenges. I think going forward, it is very important to pin down this invisible ghost. And if you pin it down, it comes back down to this fear of uncertainty, not being good enough, failure, and rejection. But I will share with you later on that people are still pinning it down wrongly. These are not actually the core fears. So we'll talk about what is the real fear later on. But the point of it is that underlying all kinds of challenges and challenges and stress is actually fear. But we're still not able to identify fear correctly.
So that, with that in mind, what is the biggest misconception people have regarding fear?
So again, when organizations are trying to transform, or people are trying to take on new jobs, new roles, moving to different spaces, they think that there is fear, but actually these are just feelings. Because these are feelings of uncertainty, because uncertainty hasn't happened yet. You are in that moment.
Right.
These are feelings that you're not good enough, but you haven't proven yourself at all. These are feelings that you might fail, but you haven't failed yet. These are feelings that you might get rejected, but you haven't gotten rejected yet.
Right.
So I think the biggest misconception about people is that these are feelings. These are not labels of fear. And let me just give you an example. One of the most powerful things that, I was able to support in was with one of the largest organizations here. We had a potential C-suite taking on a position. Right. Now, she's female. She would be the first female taking on a C-suite position. And she's also challenged because of circumstances that are going on in her home. But she was identified as the best person to take on the C-suite job. We had a conversation, and in that conversation, I just asked her this one question. I said, how are you feeling? And she's like, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this job. And I was like, and what is it that you really want over here? What is it that, forget about talking about whether or not you can do the job. Right. Obviously, somebody has made up their mind to think that you can do the job. Do you want to do the job or not? Would you say that if you died today, that you'd be happy taking it up, or that you'd be happy not taking it up? And so she said it was really quite puzzling, the fact that she couldn't talk about whether she could do it or she couldn't do it, and that she should talk about whether she wants to do it or not want to do it. So the point of this is that she actually kept thinking that she couldn't do it. And that's where she was stuck at.
Right.
She kept feeling that she's not good enough, that she might fail, she might feel rejected in that role because it's a very political role as well. But when we asked the question, do you want to or do you not want to? She said, I do want to.
Okay.
I do want to. So what we realized from a lot of these examples is that underlying all of these feelings is actually that biggest fear that will I be successful or not?
Okay.
Can I be successful in this situation? And I think that's what majority of us are struggling with. Underlying all of these feelings is actually that one thing which keeps pressing on all of our trigger buttons, which is, I wish I would be able to do it. I wish I would be able to fulfill my dreams. This is something I would want to do in my life. But that voice of that is very, very quiet. The voice of everything else, which is the feelings of not being good enough, is very loud. Right. So I think our underlying fear is this fear, or the mother fear is that fear of success.
The fear of success.
And,
okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to read out a quote by Marianne Williamson, and I really hope that everyone who's listening, kind of goes back to this quote as often as you can, if not on a daily basis. The quote goes like this: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, which goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's not that you're not good enough. It's nothing to do with being rejected, potentially being rejected. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And I think all of us have that feeling that we can and we could, and why not me? It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Our playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel secure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it is in all of us. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And so in organizations when most leaders are obviously experiencing fear, but not understanding that it is a fear of success, what they're doing is they're unconsciously triggering other people to have these fears of not feeling good enough. Because when we did this research, what we realized is that regardless of position, everybody's fears went back down to not feeling good enough, potentially failing. But none of them said my real fear is nothing more than taking the right steps towards success.
Right.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard that poem before, and it's a nice reminder again, right? This fear of success, of what if it works, right? We're going to find out a little bit what it means for organizations when your employees have fear of success. In just a moment, Hetal Doshi from OSIC in the Butterfly Effect series to Raise Your Game. Stay tuned, BFM 89.9.
Build Fairer Malaysia. BFM 89.9. The business station.
You're listening to Raise Your Game. Good morning, Frida Liu here. Hetal Doshi from OSIDE joining me for the Butterfly Effect series. She joins us once a month. And this is about how we transform the way we transform our organizations. And, our topic today is about the fear of success. And you were saying that, although we say that, we're uncertain about the future, that's one fear, and that we're not good enough, that's one fear, but underlying it is the fear of success. And when you've got that in employees, right, the fear of success, what does this mean for organizations?
Yeah, this means that, I think with organizations, we have KPIs, right, which are all the goals that we need to set or that are set in place. I think what is also valuable is doing fear setting instead of goal setting. Because the reason why we don't get to the butterfly is because our time ended in the cocoon potentially. So what this means for organizations is to dig a little bit deeper. And, I think COVID-19 has been the best scenario for us as humanity to dig a little bit deeper, become a little bit more conscious about what is going on. So the first thing to do is to pin down the ghost. The ghost really over here is within organizations right now is that fear. Pin it down with every single project that you're going or that you're embarking on. What is the fear that might stop us or prevent us from getting to this place of success? Because all of us want to achieve that success anyway. So what is it for you? What is it for you? What is it for you? And then to also stir curiosity around it. One thing that organizations don't do well enough is to ask people why and when they started experiencing these types of fears in their lives and using this as a meaningful point. So this is where I think human beings, when you begin to ask them, like, what makes you afraid of being able to secure 2 billion for the company, for example? The person might say, I'm feared, I have all these different types of fears. But what is valuable, I think a lot of organizations will find that people don't find their jobs meaningful. It's not meaningful because it doesn't relate to them. It's a valuable time to then say, at which point of time in your life, when you were a kid or when you were growing up, did you feel that you were not able to conquer things? At which point did it start? And what would it mean for you if you were able to get this 2 billion? And how can I cross the line or walk this line together with you? So a couple of interesting things that have happened is that, say for example, I'll give you one very clear scenario that happened recently. I have a leader who is finding it extremely difficult to do town hall engagements right now. And he keeps on fidgeting and keeps unconsciously looking backwards when he speaks. Even though there's no one behind him, he just keeps looking backwards. And so, obviously what he really, really wants is to be able to do a great job when he does his town hall online. But he keeps looking backwards. We pin down the ghost that, yes, okay, what he ultimately wants is to be able to do a good job. But we begin to become very curious. Rather than just saying, can you please look in front? We started to have curiosity around, when did you actually start looking backwards in your life? Like as a kid, as a teenager, when did this habit actually begin? Rather than forcing him to okay, you have to have engagement at a score of 9 out of 10. When did this start to happen? And then he began to tell us a story about how he is the youngest in the family and his older brothers, he's got 4 older brothers, and all of them are very, very strong human beings. And every time he spoke to his parents, he would always look at his brothers to see whether he was on the right page or whether he would get beaten up for it or whatever not. Right. So he would always be looking around to get some kind of validation or support or indicators. So eye contact, being able to suss things out from powerful people around him was very important. And so then we asked him what that experience was like for him, and he's like, oh my God, I wish I never had older brothers. It's like the most daunting thing. You always feel like you're not going to be able to get on par with other powerful people. And so then we started to embark on a journey called Crossing the Line. So what does it mean to cross the line? Most of us, I don't think we have crossed the line from childhood. A lot of us still have a lot of challenges that we've had in childhood that we've not been able to clean up. And that still puts us in a cocoon or a state of cocoon. And it's a very valuable journey that organizations can very easily support and partner with each other, just educate each other, and cross the line together. And becomes obviously more meaningful. You get oxytocin despite of the adrenaline. And it just makes everything worth the while. It's like mountain climbing, but you're doing it with people who understand you from a much deeper level rather than just saying, climb the freaking mountain. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so what are some practical steps an organization can take to actually conquer fear?
Yeah, I would definitely say that get right into it and start creating fear-setting exercises rather than goal-setting exercises.
Okay.
And it can work wonderfully well. So we've tried this out in 3 different pockets in an organization. And we've taken them on a journey where, we just call it a 21-day experiment for everybody. And it's with sales groups. So they are meant to produce X level amount of sales. And we just ask them basically, what is the fear set that you want to create? And so for most of them, they have put in the fear of picking up the phone, calling, or just closing it, or being able to extensively create networks out of Malaysia. And so all the things that they fear, we created that we converted that into the goal that was set for them. Rather than the goal itself, which is to create 2 billion, we removed that. And we talked about, okay, what is the most difficult thing for you that you fear? I fear talking to different markets or regions. Right. Okay, so then let's do that. So we created 10 different fear-setting exercises instead of one clear KPI. And we take them through 21 days of just being in a small little WhatsApp group, like kids again, and just talking about how they conquered these small little fears on a day-to-day basis. And each one inspires the next. So there's no leadership team here. It's all peers that are actually just supporting each other to conquer some small little fears.
Right.
And it's just been extremely, extremely phenomenal. And more than anything else, extremely meaningful for them as well.
Okay, so it's basically, it is goal setting. It's like we're breaking it down into the into smaller ways to get to that goal. But along the way, at every step of the way, this is my concern. This is my fear, So then when you talk about it, and then everybody comes in, I guess, chips in with ideas and all that. So you are then getting towards that goal. But when we change the words, we change the atmosphere even.
Yeah. So let me give you an example, Frida. So one of them said, if I could break into 3 markets, like 3 regions, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand, if I can do this, but just one at a time, if I can do this, I think I will be like just the next Michael Jackson of sales.
Okay.
And, what I would really love for everyone is to, offer some network or offer some advice, offer some mentoring. But this is the dream over here. This is what I was most afraid of, but this is also at the opposite end of this coin, or the other side of the coin. This is the dream. So we stayed away from the word fear setting, and we used, this is what I was scared about, but this is also the dream. So we used both. Right. Instead of just the fear or the goal, we used both. And they then begin to ask for a lot of help and support. So we conquered a lot of things here. There was team building, there was, meaningfulness, there was courage, there was vulnerability, there was all kinds of things. And we only had one rule. You're not allowed to behave like an adult. Because these are all things that, only if you play with the spirit of being a child and that spirit of experimenting, only then you're going to get the highest level of reward or experience of this as well.
Right.
And so, in the 21 days experiment that we have done, we have had things like people breaking through markets during COVID that they never thought possible, people coming up with new business opportunities, people even leaving the company because that was one of their dreams, all kinds of things. Right. But that was valuable for them. Yeah.
And it's like, you were saying not being an adult, right? And it's just like this bravado that we put on, right, to achieve these goals, right? And, you let down your guard. You talk about this is what I want to do, but this is what I'm fearful of. And when you do that, right, and you get and it's supportive and non-judgmental, that puts you feel like you're in it together right now. So I guess, the ultimate goal of doing fear setting exercises, what would that be?
So the ultimate goal is psychological freedom. A lot of us are shackled by all kinds of things around us. If you look at, finances, when you look at finances or financial health, people say, I want financial freedom. But when it comes to mental health or when it comes to performance, we don't know what is the ultimate goal. And to me, the ultimate goal is psychological freedom, setting the mind free to be able to really embark on things that you seemed it seemed impossible before. But now you just have the freedom to play. So that's psychological freedom. The second thing is agility. And agility is a big buzzword everywhere right now. But what does that mean? Agility obviously means the ability to do anything and everything to be able to get you to where you want to, without having a typical way forward. And so the agility comes from all kinds of, we have groups of about 10 within that WhatsApp group. And so 9 people bombard you with ideas. And now you pick the one that, like a GPS, the best route to be able to get there, rather than your own route. And the last thing, so apart from psychological and freedom and agility, is the most beautiful thing, which is called connectedness. You just begin to connect with people, and you want to become the biggest cheerleaders for them. And this, for example, in this scenario that we're working in, salespeople aren't the biggest fans of cheering other salespeople on. That's absolutely the last thing that they need to be doing, because they're very competitive in nature. But one thing that happened with these groups, even though they're very competitive, was that they had built a bond of connectedness, and they could understand that competitiveness can coexist with collaboration and also being supportive towards other people. And in fact, obviously, it is all proven by sales numbers and their own sales figures. And knowing that helped them. Knowing that gave them that confidence that, okay, if I continue to act this way in an organization, I can still win. Because previously, helping other people would mean that maybe you would get a lesser amount with regard to incentives. So yeah, in summary, psychological freedom, which is one of the most powerful things I think anyone could ever have or want in their life. Agility, which is to be able to navigate in a way that makes most meaningful and quicker sense. And lastly, connectedness, having human support on a daily basis.
Right. Always a pleasure, always insightful. Thanks for being with us again, Hetal Doshi from OSIGHT in our Butterfly Effect series. You've been listening to Raise Your Game, BFM 89.9.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To find more great interviews, go to bfm.my or find us on iTunes. BFM 89.9, the business station.